Hi, I'm Maggie, and today I would like to talk to you about evolution, its origin, the debate, news, education, textbooks, and ending with common misconceptions. I would like to begin this discussion on evolution with Charles Darwin, the deemed father of evolution. Charles Darwin was a self-funded scientist from England, who in his younger years traveled on the HMS Beagle during its second voyage. On this voyage, the Beagle traveled around the southern hemisphere. Darwin took meticulous notes on his observations, which led to the publication of his book, The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. After the conclusion of Darwin's travels on the HMS Beagle, he spent the rest of his life gaining scientific credibility as well as perfecting Origin of Species with his wife Emma and best friend Joseph Hooker. Origin of Species covers two main proposals, the first being that the diversity of current species is derived from previously existing species, and the second being natural selection in its various forms. Natural selection is the gradual process where those better suited for the environment will increase in frequency over time. Though, as Darwin expected, these concepts were initially rejected. But over time, as with natural selection, they gained popularity and acceptance. But, like all things, you cannot please everyone. There are those that reject the concepts of evolution to accept those of creationism, or intelligent design. Merriam-Webster defines creationism as a doctrine holding that matter, the various forms of life, and the world were created by God out of nothing in the way described by Genesis. For those of you unfamiliar with Genesis, it states that God created the world in 7 days. It also contains the stories of Adam and Eve, as well as their children. Even though it seems that creationism and evolution have a lot of differences, it doesn't mean that creationism is anti-evolution. I know that there are some of you that might think this idea is a little crazy. Theodosius Dobzhansky was an advocate for this idea that creationism isn't anti-evolution. In his paper, Nothing in Biology Makes Sense Except for in the Light of Evolution, Dobzhansky explains the differences between a creationist and an evolutionist, stating that an evolutionist and a creationist can be at peace, and that it's anti-evolutionists who don't believe in the concepts concerning evolution and reject everything for intelligent design, such as Philip E. Johnson, the father of the intelligent design movement and author of Darwin on Trial. Now that I have talked about the difference between an anti-evolutionist and a creationist, I want to discuss how anti-evolutionists and evolutionists have been on debate for many years in different forums on whether or not evolution or creationism is the correct means of describing the diversity of life. They have also been debating on whether or not either should be taught in a classroom setting. Gerald Skoog, author of many articles on evolution and textbooks, parallels this debate to the Berlin Wall, evolution on one side and anti-evolution on the other. We see the debate on whether or not evolution should be taught in schools or be in textbooks perpetuated through the news. These are only some examples of the hundreds of headlines concerning education and evolution. In 2005, NPR released an article examining states that contained controversy over evolution and education and evolution and textbooks. There were 13 states highlighted in the article from NPR, all of which are shown here: Alabama, Arkansas, Kansas, Maryland, New Mexico, Georgia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Missouri, Michigan, Minnesota, and South Carolina. I should clarify that these are states that had controversies in 2005 when the article was published. From 1900 to 1968, Gerald Skoog evaluated 83 textbooks, 53% of which contained the human fossil record, and roughly 35% stated that humans are a product of evolution. In other words, 44 of the 83 contain the human fossil record, and 29 out of the 83 stated that humans are a product of evolution. Skoog evaluated 8 textbooks that were published from the years 1900 to 1919. He found that only 2 of the textbooks stressed the validity of evolution, and that none of them discussed evolution in humans. He contributed this to the popularity of eugenics at the time. Eugenics is the concept of improving the human population through selective breeding. In 1961, a lot of things changed. The NSF, or National Science Foundation, published 3 books showing evolution in various contexts rather than isolating it to 2 chapters. As these books gained popularity, other publishers started following suit, mentioning more and more about evolution. That is until 1981, when Arkansas passed a bill mandating the inclusion of creationism. This bill was overturned by the Supreme Court in 1982, but it seems to have lit the match that started the fire of the debate continued today. I know there are some of you who are asking, why should we care about the debate between 2 different ideologies? I mean, they're just opinions, right? We should care because while all this monkey business is going on, debating whether or not evolution or creationism should be taught in schools, teachers are being affected. They have to rely solely on textbooks and state curriculum guides to teach biology. Now, not all textbooks are accurate, so this can lead to the perpetuation of misconceptions in school. Now, perpetuating misconceptions lowers the quality of education and should be a major concern for everyone. Common misconceptions perpetuated by textbooks are as followed. Natural selection and evolution are the same thing. Natural selection and evolution are not the same thing. Natural selection is the mechanism of evolution, just as creationism is the mechanism that anti-evolutionists use to reject evolution. Another one is that all traits are adaptive. While some traits may be adaptive, most traits are just genetic. Evolution is random or non-random. Evolution has a little bit of both. It has random components such as mutations that cause variation, and it has non-random components such as natural selection, or the selective force on certain traits. Another one is that individuals evolve. Individuals do not evolve. Individuals mutate. Evolution occurs on a population scale. Another final one is that offspring inherit favorable traits. Offspring inherit traits whether or not they're favorable. They contain genetics from both their parents if it is a case where 2 parents are needed. In cases like bacteria, they're genetic clones of their parents. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and maybe learned a few things or opened your mind up to the debate between evolution and anti-evolution. The bibliography for this video, as well as the PowerPoint file, will be in the description. Thanks!